current projects-wise, I got a few things going on. I can always use more, but at the moment, that top left one, I'm in the middle of. That was a really nice pickup. I picked it up, and it looked like that. I still did about $15,000 worth of work to it. That was mainly like fixing. It's got all paneling inside, and it's kind of original finishes, but it's all in great shape. But I still spent a little bit of money on fixing up those wood finishes, and it had some electrical issues. What you don't see in there is it was full with 4 trailer loads. Well, it was probably 8 trailer loads of stuff, and it wasn't junk. It wasn't hoarder situation. He was a collector. Anybody collectors in here that you're planning on leaving to your kids? No? Just my mom? Just my mom? Nobody's got curio cabinets full of china that... I actually took some china out of that house. And I was like, my mom's going to be pissed. She's like, I didn't take her china, but I took someone else's random china. I wasn't supposed to tell you that. Anyway, so it was full of a ton of stuff, and they did an estate sale that lasted 2 weeks longer than it should have, or it was originally going to. And then I did a giveaway of all of the stuff, like a free estate sale. Just come, please, God, take whatever you want. And I was still left with, it took 4.5 trailer loads full of stuff. And unfortunately, a lot of it was nice, but I really couldn't do anything with it. I salvaged a bunch of clothes and a record player and some other like little knickknacks. But I honestly felt bad. It was the only one that I've ever bought that was full of stuff that I was like, I felt a little bad about throwing a lot of it out. But I tried. I saved a lot with the giveaway and all that, and you can't save everything, unfortunately. That one on the bottom left is a new tub going into a house that up in Crestline that's getting rehabbed. That's the inside. We actually did, or the middle of that thing right there, the bottom middle there. Why that wall is all textured like that is we actually sound insulated that whole wall with a resilient channel and some double thick drywall with some sound deadening material inside of it, because it has another unit on the back of it. So we're trying to make it a little bit more soundproof. And then bottom right there is a mobile home that I just picked up, which has at the moment, a natural skylight coming through the kitchen. That is not, for those of you that missed the joke, it's not, there's not glass in between the sky and that light. That is the roof just falling in over the kitchen. And I was planning on, actually, believe it or not, I was planning on saving those cabinets. And this picture is from when they've already ripped the roof off. And, this is the kind of stuff you run into when you do this. And for those of you that are out there that have flipped, you're probably going to be like, yep. They started on the other side of the roof. That before the rain started, they started on the other side of the roof that didn't have any holes. And they finished the side that was easy. And then tarped the other side. Well, and after like a hurricane, 2 rounds of hurricanes that we just got, it kind of ripped the hole in it. So I walked in and there was all those cabinets were completely soaked, and I haven't been back since. I just shook my head and walked out, and before I got mad. And so we'll see. I might have to do the kitchen there. That one's probably going to cost probably like a $50,000 rehab, but I got it for $1,500. So, and I'm planning on selling it for probably like 90 to 100. So, what's that? Crestline. Yep. So, it'll work out. And then that one up at the top right is one I just finished. It's also in Crestline up in the same park. That one's for sale at the moment. That one I overpaid at $5,000 for that one. And I put about 30 into it, and I'm selling that one for. Where's my agent at? What are we listed at? She's in the room. I think it's 79. 69. 69. I was wishful thinking. But so selling that one for 69, and it's the time of the year where I haven't gotten any offers yet, but I think it'll sell pretty quick. So, and that one, you get these things in there. Some of them are worse than others, right? Like the one down there, the inside of that one is disgusting. For those of you that follow me on Instagram, that was the one that I did the walkthrough of, where at the very end it was a mound of diapers that were like to the ceiling in the bathroom. So if you like that kind of stuff, just follow me. You all do, I know it, don't lie. Like, the nastier the better. I get it. That video got like 10,000 views. So, I'm going to try and not go on a tangent here. So, where was I? Diapers? Yeah, sorry. So the inside of this one is disgusting. It's terrible. And then the other one that I bought in the park as well, the inside of that one's fine, but the siding on the outside is all like the old school siding that they put on in the 70s, and it's completely like melting off the side of the mobile home. But the inside's decent. So that one's going to cost more on the outside. This one's going to cost more on the inside. At the end of the day, I'll hopefully clear like 40 on each of them. So it's all right. And then the one in the top middle there is, a lot of you have been to this house when I was doing the Crestline lunch. That one is the only single-family house in the last 5 years that I've decided to sell. Anybody want to ask me a question? Yes. You're trained well. Pete, thank you. Because the rehab got away from me. I had my roofer in there originally, and he'd been begging me for a shot at doing a whole rehab for me. And he gave me a price that at the time, I thought was good enough that if he screwed it up, I'd still be okay. But I also, what's that? He proved otherwise. Yeah, I went a little bit longer. I let it go a little bit longer until one day I tried to get a hold of him, and he wasn't answering his phone anymore. And so I changed the lockbox code at that point, and heard from him about a week later as he was getting out of jail. So, So, it happens. I also decided this is why if you've taken my rehab class or you want to take it on the portal, one of my number one rules is don't tear the house up. Don't gut it. Don't change the layout. Don't do any of those great grand ideas you may have in your head. You're like, it'd be so much nicer if we opened up the living room. Don't do it. So I broke my own rule because this house, honestly, it really needed it. They had this whole loft upstairs that you literally had to limbo to get up. The staircase was like this wide, and you had to turn sideways and like duck like this to go up the stairs to even get into the loft. And it was terrible. And so we decided to, make it better at the expense of my profit. So anyways, after about a year, I went to refi it. We got our appraisal done, and the appraisal was not favorable. So it was bullshit, as all appraisals are when you're a flipper. But no, it really was. For those of you that don't know, appraisals are kind of luck of the draw sometimes. And this guy was not from the mountains. This was a 1,100 square foot house, because one of the bedrooms and one of the bathrooms, being that it's in the mountains, so it was going like, it was on a slope like this. Okay, so he said that one of the bathrooms and one of the bedrooms was below grade. Even though it's above grade where the slab sits. And talking to another appraiser, that's not even accurate. But anyways, they're gods. You can't really do a whole lot. He appraised that house as a 2-1 at 700 square feet. And I was originally going for $385. He gave me $290. And guess how much in this house I was? About $290. So to the bank, that was 100% LTV loan, which they are not going to do. So at that point, I looked really hard at, I also had it for rent for about $2,300, and I wasn't getting any takers. And I had like 30 people walk through the house. So at that point, I just decided, as some of you are learning now or might learn in the future or have learned in the past, that they don't all go perfect or the way you want. And when that happens, if you can get out and not lose money, just get out and move on. Okay? There's no point in hanging on to this thing just to not even cash flow or even anything for the. And now I have, the reason why I'm doing this too is I have about like $50,000 of my own money into it. And to leave that $50,000 in with no cash flow, probably negative cash flow at this point, is just not worth it. So that is the story on how I ended up flipping my first house in 5 years. Yes, Ray. Yeah, good question. What was the reason I got from the feedback I got from why I didn't rent? You know, I had a lot of people walk through, and people that said no, they're, you know, we're gonna pass. I actually had to start like, oh, because people were like, oh, it's beautiful. You know, it's so beautiful. It's just not for us. You know, and I'm like, after the fifth person that had told me that, I was like, all right. The next person that told me that, I was like, yo, just be real with me. Like, I can take it. Just tell me what's up. And they were like, you know, we really liked it. It's really nice. But the upstairs, my husband's tall, so the upstairs loft, you know, the headroom, there's really no master, you know, even though there's two. The biggest bedroom's upstairs, and then down the stairs is like a small, and then the bathrooms are small, you know. So all of which I knew, you know, my experience in the mountains after, I don't know, 80 houses or something up there alone, is that a lot of the houses in the mountains are awkward. So, you know, but for whatever, and this was it's on a corner, you know, kind of almost like a cul-de-sac, but not really. A corner lot that's huge. It's big. It's like a triple size lot. There's nobody around it, nobody across from it. It's like your own little thing right there. But it is awkward. And when I put that on the market, I took that into account and decided to put it up at the lowest priced 3.2 on the mountain at the moment. And then somebody still lowballed me. So if you follow me on Facebook, that was what I was talking about. Was that house? I have it up for 330. The guy walked in. This couple walked in. They were in there for 4 minutes. And I don't mean 4 minutes in the house. They pulled up in their car. Clock started. They got back in their car and left in 4 minutes. They literally like walked through. They didn't even go around the house. They didn't even go outside. Granted, it was raining, but still. And then they offered $20,000 under asking. And I haven't posted the update, but we did counter. We countered back at, so it was at 330. We countered back at 325. And then they said, no, we're good. So they weren't serious. Yeah, it was just a drive-by, you know, throw out an offer, see if it sticks, and then try and hustle me on a inspection later. Darren?
Help me understand the appraisal process, because sometimes I understand, I just went through that too, where the appraisal came back way different than what you were looking at from your initial comps. Would you be able to go to a different lender and have them run a different appraisal and then hopefully get a different number, or do they still see the results of the?
So the question's basically like, what happens when you get a crappy appraisal, and is there any recourse?
Is there a recourse, or can you just go get another appraisal from another lender?
Yeah, it's a good question, and it really depends on what it is for. Okay, so like if this was for a refi, right? It's for a DSCR refinance. Okay, yes, I could just go to another lender, which was one of the options that I considered. I could just go to another lender, but that lender didn't have as good enough rates as I was trying to get. Then, you know, I was in the sixes for this. If I could get the LTV to be where I needed to be, I was in the low sixes for this one. If I went to my other lender that I use a lot, and somehow he's got an in with a awesome appraiser that they're not supposed to be able to pick the appraisers, but you know, somehow he's got something, and his appraisers, you know, they're awesome. But I could have done that, yes. So if it's a DSCR, yes, you can do that. You could quit the loan. You could do that with anything. However, if it's an FHA or a government-backed loan, usually FHA, HSA, USDA, or VA, the appraisal stays with the house for a certain amount of time. So if you, and this happened to us years ago on a flip, we had an FHA buyer that came in and got an appraisal, and it was similar numbers, if I remember correctly. It was like we were in escrow for like 330, and the appraiser came back at like 290, and the buyer wanted us to eat like the 50 grand, which is all of our profit. And we said no, and we canceled, and now we couldn't sell it to another person with an FHA loan because that appraisal stayed with the house. What is it, 6 months, a year? 6 months. So we could have waited another 6 months and then done it for an FHA. So we canceled the sale and we said conventional only. And like a week later, we got another full price offer and it appraised.
And you didn't have to show them the results of that because that was
No, we don't have to share anything. Yeah, appraisals are private. It's not a disclosure thing unless it's an FHA or government. You know.
Now, what happens if you did a conventional appraisal and that appraisal came in low, and then you got a different conventional buyer? Would you have to share the results of the first?
Not that I'm aware of.
So that's just an FHA thing then, basically.
Yeah, because it's like government. It's like the FHA guidelines, the government loans guidelines. So, Reza? Yes, you can. Anybody had to ever escalate an appraisal that didn't go the way you wanted? Raise them high. Did you ever get a favorable response to that? Keep your hands up. Keep your hands up because I want to hear the story. Yeah? Tell me about it. I'd love to hear this because every time I've done this, they've told me to F off, and I said, okay, thanks. Uh-huh. How much did they adjust it? Well, how much were they off from where you wanted to be? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, the next time I have to do this, I'm calling you. You're going to write the emails and find me the comps, and I'll pay you the difference of whatever you get. Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. That's awesome. Good for you, man. That's Yeah, so every time, and I wish I had a story like that because I would tell it all the time. Mm.